then, after that, when the pandemic hit, all those years on my breast, I have seen these 3 spots. Never questioned why they were on my body. Till one day, I was in the bathroom at my aunt's house, and it hit me. First, I had eaten something that day, and I had a mild case of diarrhea, and I was on the toilet, and it just hit me. That particular morning, one of my cousins was downstairs asleep. Everybody else was gone. And I sat there when it hit me that I had been sodomized too, because all the pieces were starting to come together after they opened up the case, right?
Right.
Blew my mind. Then I got up to wash my hands, and I look in the mirror, and I look at my breast. 36 years I've been looking at these. And did not equate that those were the cigarette burns. So now my mind is starting to bring all of it up. Everything I suppressed, starting to bring it up all on its own. And now I don't have a defense. I don't have the drug.
Right.
Now I gotta feel everything. Now my mind's opening up, daydreaming about certain things that happen. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I questioned myself. Even though I got a letter, even though that happened to me, I questioned myself. Nah, that can't be me. No. Am I hallucinating this? Did this really happen to me? I'm going through a whole bunch of changes. So with that being said, I was working in Functionable before they decided to open up these cases and send me that letter. This is when I learned that there's statutory on rape, which I think is the most unfair, ungodly thing that the system could do. You have the audacity, the officer that took my rape report at Detroit Receiving, and my mother had to come with me for consent to do the rape kit and everything. You did your job, which was write out the rape report. When I walked out of there, you put me in a box. You worked every day and got your pension. But Wayne County want to send me this letter signed by a woman, Kim Worthy. You don't know me. You don't care about my story because Wayne County didn't give me no help. I sought my own help. Then you tell me I can't sue for something that you were supposed to be doing your job? You think this is serious? That a woman that came off of a show went to all the major cities? There were 40,000, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. There were 47,000 cases here in Detroit. My box, there were 12,000 of us. Were somebody's mother, sister, friend, daughter, grandmother's, auntie. Okay? Now I'm sure that officer that took my report, he's probably not here. But how is it that you could dredge that up after all this time and tell me that there's no money for me, there's no help for me, but yet you paid this officer and he didn't do his job? This is where the passion kicks in now. Now I'm thinking. And now I'm getting pissed. I'm past the victim. I'm not a special victim. I'm not a victim at all, nah. Now I'm a savage. 621. That's where I'm at this particular time. So now I got to strategize. I can't get no money. Mind you, I was 3 days into my surgery with this cast from the rotary cuff surgery. And that's how Wayne County found me. My rotary cuff surgery was in Detroit. That's how they found me, because I live in the suburbs. With that being said, I said, okay, y'all don't want to give me no money. People not doing their job. People sending me letters like they care. You don't care. I bet you don't even remember my name, Kim Worthy. And on top of that, there were 11,999 other women in that box with me. Do you care about their lives? How many of them committed suicide? How many of them will never get their life back? Will never be right? What about the ones that have children? Husbands? You don't think those relationships tarnished? But you don't have nothing for us. Okay. So now I can't function anymore. Because my organized chaos is chaotic. It's all over the place. Mind you, I was a caregiver at the time. Most of my patients were men. I tried to work because it was so fresh in my mind that I couldn't decipher that this older man that I was taking care of did nothing to me. But I had that moment in time where my mind was just like, any man that come near me in trouble. It's going to be a problem. So yeah, my mind went there. It was going to, it was going to be a problem. So I couldn't work. I thought I could, but I couldn't. So now I have to think about my life. Where's my money going to come from? What am I going to do? So I decided to apply for disability. Mm-hmm. Great. They sent me to a doctor. Oh, wait. I need to back up. So during that time, disability, when I applied for it, were sending me letters. And always on the outside of the envelope, whenever my aunt would help me fill out papers or whatever, I put it in the envelope. And I would tell my story on the envelope. I'm a rape victim, Wayne County did such. Yeah. Because I wanted that to float through the mail. I wanted the mailman to see that. I wanted the people that received the mail at the disability to see that. So I applied for it. And it's the most disappointing thing I've ever done. First off, let me say that people with mental illness that are on disability or have a handicap or, what they're giving us is absolutely horrific. It's just as bad as sexual assault. And I'm going to tell you why. I've made money to take care of everything. You decide, whoever the high elites are, they decide how much they gonna give me for my mental illness. But you opened up Pandora's box, because before they opened up those cases, I had a man. I was living with him. I was working. Now here comes the letter. Now I have to tell him. I've been with him 5 years. He has no idea. He wasn't the type of man that was equipped to deal with something like that. I told him that. He looked at me like a deer in the headlights. Now I'm pulling back. I'm pulling back from being intimate. Not by choice. Not by choice. The money that they give us for mental illness, it's ridiculous. People can't live off of that. But this is all I could get from the state. Because according to some people, Wayne County is broke. Well, I don't care how broke you are. You need to make good and reprimand every officer that didn't do their job. There need to be consequences. Because when you threw those letters out in the mail and mailed it to us, we got consequences now. Now we got to figure out our life. You, Wayne County, and I'm going to say it, you're only being politically correct. Because Mariska came and forced y'all to do that. Right? Absolutely. Who now knows about it? Who even cares about it? Everybody in Detroit knew about Mariska Hargitay, knew about the cases. Now don't nobody talk about it no more. Now we ain't gonna sweep that one under the rug. Because you didn't sweep my life under the rug and you still don't have nothing for us. With that being said, they sent me to a doctor to see where my mental illness was. I scared the hell out of him. He told security to come get me. But yet, you ruled on my shoulder. They sent me to the head doctor. Then they sent me to the physical doctor about my shoulder. Now let's be clear about this too, Wayne County. I was 3 days in for a rotary cuff surgery. I was in a cast. You thought I was going to physical therapy after you did that? Most of the physical therapists were men where they wanted to send me. So how you thought that was going to work out? Did again? I don't care. What I would have liked, to all of you in Wayne County, officers, prosecutors, whatever, whomever you are, why didn't you just let me die and left me in that box? Why would you bring it up 36 years later? Listen, I don't know about the other women, but I'm a voice for all of them. That's not going down like that. No. No. You thought you was going to get away with that one? Out of 47,000? I'm the only one so far. But I'm finna dig them all up. I'm finna bring them all out. Gonna have to do something, Wayne. You gonna have to right your wrong. Gonna have to right your wrong. So with that being said, the mental illness, they would have to give me so much money for that. They don't want to give you nothing anyway.
That's right.
It's a terrible system.
And there needs to be a change.
No, I don't want no change. I want it done. We've been screaming that same slogan. Change, change, change. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the seasons in this world. And in my lifetime, and if I don't make it to see it, I promise you, that's going to change. Just because you've allowed me to walk through my whole life. I could have been going to the grocery store. I could have been anywhere. I have walked past my rapists, plural. I didn't know it, but I'm sure I have. And I must say, people can change. Let's just say out of those 25 guys that did that to me, they got a hell of a karma. Some of them are not here. Some of them have changed, you know. And most of them are still doing the same thing. I feel like if you think that somebody's life that you have turned upside down 36 years later, fast forward 2024, it is now a 41-year-old case. Yep. If you thought that was going to fly like that, the system's not as bright as I thought they were. So to get out of giving me the money, they ruled on my shoulder. But yet you stagnated my therapy. And you turned my life upside down. And you thought that piece of paper you sent me was going to smooth it out? This is helping me so much, Couture, because the first half, I've been needing to get that out. And as I told you on the break when we cut the camera off, it's like a weight has been lifted off of me.
Yes.
You also have to remember, I've been wearing so many hats. Excuse me, so many hats. And I don't want to wear no hats no more. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is get so-called victims, but we're going to get rid of that word. Not a victim.
Survivor.
Gotta be. Because there's only two ways out of this. Survival or death. There is no in-between. Because your mind's not going to be able to handle the in-between. You're going to have to make a life choice. And my choice is that I want to change the narrative of how we look at sexual assault. I want the system to change. Now, I know there's so many other issues in the world, you know. And I'm not even saying change for the masses. If it reaches one, I've done what I was supposed to do. If it reaches two, I've done what I was supposed to do. I was called and summoned to do this. I've been holding the story for 40 years. I'm still holding it. Now I'm releasing it. And then let's talk about the industry, entertainment industry. That's a very interesting twist. The Me Too movement. I'm a Me Too. I'm no celebrity, but I'm a Me Too. How come I'm not getting any money? How come nobody's, when I tell my story 15, 16 years later, why am I not getting millions to sign an NDA? And then, why aren't these people in jail? That's even more interesting. America and the system does not care about us. They absolutely don't.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. For now. But something gonna move it. Not in my power, but it's gonna move it. Do you know, I just heard of a story of a young teenager in one of those group homes. So I guess these two young kids got into it, whatever, at the juvenile home, right? I come to find out one of the older kids was molesting these little boys. The funny part about it is that juvenile homes have staff that are supposed to go in and out, or they're in the halls, that type of thing.
Right.
You mean as hell me that y'all don't hear the screams of another boy sexually assaulting another boy? Are you serious? It's the same ring like the entertainment industry. Everybody that stood around and watched a woman get raped and tortured.
So to switch lanes, have you ever heard back from the two young women that were with you that night over 40 years ago?
No, which is why that was another reason I was moved to tell my story. Yes, because they got the same letter too. And I don't know if there's, I don't know what's happened to them. I don't know if they're still here. I don't know the gist of that. But I'm hoping that this story reaches out to them. They know who they are. They know what we went through. The ironic thing is, about 15 years after the sexual assault took place, in my addiction, I went to a shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I was only there for one day. But just, thank the Most High that, I needed to go there, but it just wasn't for me. So I had to get out of there. But I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. I checked into the shelter, and it was time for dinner time. And there was a long line in the cafeteria. And I saw the brown-skinned sister in line. We locked eyes. First of all, we locked eyes because of what happened, what secret we shared. And then we locked eyes because both of us are in a shelter for addiction. How ironic is that? And we never spoke about it. We hugged, we kissed. How you doing? I'm trying to get help. We never talked about that. How ironic is that? You see? I don't know what happened to the other sister. Maybe she's doing better than, the other sister was. But yeah, that was something. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like people don't take sexual assault serious. And I know this has been happening since the beginning of time. All over the world. All over the world.
Right.
But I don't care if you're male or female. If I say no, it's no. I also have to remember that sexual assaulters, it's a mental illness. It's about power and control and demeaning. Now, I do sometimes, I've heard people say, young girls nowadays shouldn't wear what they do. First of all, men are visual anyway. It don't help, but that ain't what it's really about.
Right.
Don't help at all.
It's about self-control and respect.
But I'm talking about the assaulter.
As well am I.
Right. But I'm saying most people think that because women walk around, most women nowadays, you might as well just come out of the house with no clothes on because you're revealing so much nowadays. And and that's if that's who you are, okay, fine. Although sexual assaulters is about control, it's a mental illness, right? Because what they did to me, they damaged me. And that was their purpose. It wasn't about my body. It wasn't about how beautiful I am. It was about none of that. It's simply a mental illness that America and the world is not willing to treat.
And so to bring it home, what do you hope for yourself and other survivors at this point in time in 2024?
Well, I would like to say that we're not victims. We're not victims. In the act, we were victims. They were predators. They predatized us. But after the act is done, the victimizing is over. Mm-hmm. I've never been a victim in my eyes. And to be able to sit here and tell my story is just a path and a journey that I was already being prepared for and had no idea. To sit and watch an episode of something and to think that that's my real life, boy. I do want to thank Mariska Hargitay. She is such a beautiful woman in spirit. I want to thank her. You did your part. And you were helping others as you play Olivia on Law and Order. You were hoping that they were going to follow suit and do what they needed to do. Because obviously in your character, you're serious about it. But now I know outside of your job of being an actress, this is real. is real. You did this all by yourself, sister girl. And I hope to sit down with Mariska Hargitay and talk. You know, I'd like to do an episode of Law and Order of my story. Out the box. Out of the box. And now it's time to put Wayne County in a box. And every other country around the world. It's time. We got a dead net. That can't happen no more. Our children aren't safe. Women aren't safe. Men aren't safe. The LBG, I don't really know how to say it, but
LGBT.
that community, they have it even worse because most of them are doing what they need to do to get money, you know, and if you don't feel like getting money that day and say no, and you take it from me, there again, sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And anytime a woman says no, and you take the time, 10 or 15 minutes, to keep sexually harassing me, you're borderline.
That too is sexual assault, basically.
Yeah, you're borderline. With that being said, I really hope that me coming to tell this story helps someone. And I want this story to spread all across the world. And I want to be able to talk to women. I want to be able to talk to sexual harassment or sexual assault. I want to talk about it because there are stages to healing from this, and I only know this because I went through. First, you got to come out of that you were a victim. There was a predator in the woods, and he got you. Okay? But he spit you out. He ain't chew you and swallow you. He spit you out. So if you're still here, and there's some trauma going on, go through that trauma. Because once you go through that door and heal from that, then it is #survivor mode. And I didn't even realize I was a survivor. I didn't even realize that I would be strong enough to even do something like this or even tell my story.
Absolutely. #no means no. #consent is crucial. #survivor. Thank you so much for speaking with us today and sharing your story. Once again, you are so brave. I am very proud of you.
Thank you for having me, Katora. Thank you so much. And I'd like to say to everyone that has ever experienced any kind of sexual harassment or sexual assault, just know this. If you make it out of there, that's half the job done. If you see it, speak it. I don't want people to see things and allow things to happen. And you stand there and watch. You too are a sexual assaulter if you allow that to happen. So let's keep our eyes open. If we see it, we speak it. We're no longer living in the age where snitching is cool. Because snitching is the power to change. You gotta tell. You gotta tell stuff like that. Now you want to keep your own secrets and don't want to be a tattletale, that's fine. But when it comes to this and children and women walking this earth, we gotta see it.
And men too.
And men too, absolutely. So with that, Miss Katora, I am going to have a podcast. My podcast is not for anybody that feels they're a victim that has gone through trauma. Everybody's a victim on this earth of something or some type of trauma. Go through the door of being victimized. Once you go through all those doors, there's nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Everybody share their stories amongst each other. Let's start a storytelling, like a soul train line across the world. I tell you my story, you tell somebody else. They tell somebody else. Right? Let's heal. Coming soon, the Love Mob podcast. Thank you.
And thank you. And you heard it here first. Coming soon, the Love Mob podcast. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank all of you